I'm Gwendolyn Osborne. We are so excited to have you joining us today as we taste and talk about Hampton Water Rosé. Many of you have purchased a bottle ahead of time. Fantastic. That means you will have a nice chilled glass to taste along with our incredible guests as we talk about the story behind Hampton Water and taste through the wine. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the people behind this wine. First, we have Gérard Bertrand. He is a renowned winemaker in the south of France, making a delightful array of incredible wines coming from the Languedoc-Roussillon region. One of those wines, of course, being Hampton Water. And we were also honored to have the two proprietors of the wine, Jesse Bongiovi, the young mastermind behind the idea for Hampton Water. Hello, Jesse. And his business partner and father, also a legendary musician, John Bongiovi. So hello to the three of you. Thank you so much. I mean, we, our customers, the consumers, we all appreciate you taking time to come talk to us about this wine, sharing your stories, and we're excited to learn more and taste through. Okay, so today is really about telling the story about Hampton Water, and I love this story. So let's go back to the beginning. Jesse and John, I kind of want to talk about the inspiration here because Jesse, you were still in college, and it was one fairly late evening in the Hamptons that you come up with this kind of crazy idea, and then your father kind of challenges you to make it a reality. So can y'all give us, enlighten us with the details, if you will?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, thank you everybody for having us. Thank you, Gwen. Thank you, Michael, for having us on. We're incredibly excited to talk to all 2,500 of you, which is a little nerve-wracking. Welcome to my living room, I guess. But yeah, you know, this idea really did sort of snowball. It came from when I was young, going out to the Hamptons. My parents had a place out there forever, and me and my college roommate kind of came up with this idea because we both grew up in New York. We'd spend a lot of time out on the east end of Long Island, and the running joke out there is that people drink more rosé than they drink water. So when we were of age to drink, we kind of fell right back into that idea. And so basically our mom started giving us a hard time, and they were saying, you guys are drinking all this rosé, maybe you should knock it off a little bit. And we said, don't worry about it, Mom, we're not drinking rosé, we're drinking Hampton Water. And one late night I said that to my dad sort of jokingly. He offered us a glass of pink juice, and me and my buddy looked at him and we're like, no, like, you're in the Hamptons, you're not drinking pink juice anymore, you're drinking Hampton Water. And he lit up, was like, that is a hilarious name. Can you imagine if someone put that on a bottle? So we kind of looked at each other and we were like, well, we could figure that out. I'm sure we could make it happen. And from there, the idea was kind of born.
That is very cool. So John, can I ask you, where did you get the name Pink Juice?
Well, it was my guilty part of me that didn't want to be admitting to drinking rosé every day, all day. And so I tried to tell the kids that I was drinking pink juice. And so, from there, the conversation began, and Jesse said Hampton Water, and we both thought that was a great idea for a brand. And then he utilized that degree he got at school, back with a business plan, and we took it from there.
Well, that's awesome. And now you're partners, which is super exciting. Why, once you kind of have this plan going, what made you choose the south of France for your Hampton Water?
Well, I had known about rosé wines for quite a while. If the rest of America has even yet to catch on to rosé the way we've known it for 15 years now or longer, we were very familiar with Gérard's wines, and we were very familiar with the wines of the south of France. And so in the Hamptons, people are almost rosé snobs. They know the difference between a good rosé and what's not. And so Gérard's wines were very familiar to the people of the Hamptons. And when we came up with the concept, we knew that the only place we'd be interested in sourcing our wines was from the south of France.
Okay, and that makes sense. I mean, the rosé boom that started here was a little bit more about blush wines back in the 70s and 80s, but I think that the dry rosé boom has really kind of happened in the past decade. I also love Gerard's wines, all of them. How did y'all partner up? How did you kind of hook up together?
Well,
I was in contact with John. John called me one day and he said to me, I would like to make rosé with my son because my son came with the idea about creating a concept behind the rosé. And okay, I said, John, let's meet. And we had a lunch in New York and we talked for a couple of hours and we share the vision and the passion. And I felt from them the commitment and the long-term vision and also the will to create a premium rosé. And say, John, Jesse, let's come in the south of France in order for making the blend with me. It was for the first vintage in 2017. And we spent together 3 days in the south of France and we have visited different estates and tasting grapes and then tasting the juice. And it was the beginning of the journey. And then also we talk about the label, we talk about the bottle, about the glass cork and everything. And of course, it was exciting for me because it was the first partnership I have done in my long career. And it was something out of the box. And I like the idea since the beginning. And now we have developed the friendship and we enjoy for every single day.
That's beautiful. I love that. I like that this was your first partnership, and I didn't know that. But knowing you, I know that if you chose someone to partner with, that person needs a lot of passion to match up with your intense love of winemaking. So, okay, so we have a place and we have a winemaker, we have an idea, we have a name. Now we move to the blend. So this is a very typical Southern Rhone, Southern France blend of Grenache, Cinsault, Mourvedre, Syrah. How did you work together to choose this blend? Did you have a goal of like a specific flavor profile you were trying to put with your Hampton water?
Yeah, for us, it was important that it was very drinkable. Like my dad said, he sort of guided me because obviously I didn't have much of a knowledge about what I wanted it to taste like. As long as it was liquid, I was pretty much okay with it. But we literally went to the liquor store and we bought every kind of rosé we could get our hands on one summer, and then very, very early on, and then we really had sort of this idea of, okay, we know we want it to be lighter. We knew sort of about the color. We knew a lot of kind of the notes that we enjoyed in rosés that we were drinking. But then when we had the opportunity, like Gérard said, to actually go to his vineyards and spend a few days there, literally it got to the point where it was test tubes and eyedroppers. And so Gérard, the first day, walked us into this, literally like you picture like lab coats walking in with all these different varietals of rosés and different grapes. And he essentially walked us through for the first day. This will have this effect on wine. This, if you add a little bit of this will change this aspect of it. And so we ended up initially just, Gérard said, give it a try. These are the varietals that I think should go and give it a shot. And so we all just sort of blended up what we sort of guessed at. And then Gérard took us from that point and said, okay, if we had a little bit more of this, a little bit less of this, a little bit more of this, a little bit less of this. And by the end of the third day, we were all sitting at lunch and Gérard pulled out a big Magnum and said, this is going to be Hampton water. We went forward from there.
That is very cool. I love that. I think that people don't always understand that blending, I mean, yes, blending is that you put them in the test tubes and the smaller bottles and everything, but you could blend at home if you wanted to, buying a few different rosés or reds and do that. And it's an exciting thing to kind of figure out what gives it structure and what gives it acidity and what adds different kinds of fruit flavors. So I'm glad you all had a part in that. And then of course, opening a Magnum is always a fun way to taste it for the first time. Okay, so I'm ready to taste. Well, actually, I've already been tasting, but not gonna lie. But before we everybody else joins in for the tasting, this wine, can you tell? Like, this is why they call it Hampton water, people. Come on. This has a glass stopper, which is kind of unusual. You don't see it in every single bottle of wine. And we'll kind of get to why Gérard likes to use the glass stopper, but there is kind of a technique of opening the bottle. So if we could have a demonstration, that would be lovely.
Sure.
Anyone?
So I've got one right here. This is, unfortunately, this is the last one that I still have with plastic on it because quarantine has been quite long here in New York. But for those of you watching at home, you'll see that there's a metal strip that's, holding the plastic wrap. So all you have to do is peel that off, pull off that plastic wrap. And what we always say is pop the top. Kind of treat it like a bottle of champagne. And if you use the meat of your thumbs to just push on it, it'll pop right off.
Perfect.
So then you're ready to drink it. So there you go.
Ready to drink it. Yeah. And I suppose if you would ever need to, you could close it back if you don't finish
That's right. Rumor has it that some people don't finish an entire bottle. And the magic is you can pop that top right back on and it will not leak. No air is going to get in it. So if there are some people out there who don't finish the bottle, they can take it on and take it back off and have it the next afternoon.
Okay, exactly. Or for breakfast, for all that, right? Something like that. And John, are you one of those? Do you usually have to put the top back in?
I haven't ever done that, no.
Okay, so you're with me in the empty bottle club?
Rumor has it, yeah. And then those tops, they're also great because when you consider that we're not using cork, so we're environmentally friendly. It's the signature of Gérard's other wines. So a lot of folks aren't familiar with it in the States. But remember, folks, pop the top, just push it up, and you can always put it back on.
Yes. I've tried to unscrew one of these before. It does not work very well.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to taste the wine. I'm going to have Gérard kind of walk us through it. But for those of you at home tasting, really taste with us, get your senses going here. I want you to kind of look at the wine, kind of look at the color. What kind of pink is it? Give it a good swirl, get your nose in there. What kind of aromas are coming out? And when you taste the wine, think about all parts of the wine. What's the texture like? What's the structure like? What kind of flavors are coming through? How long does it linger? I think you'll really get a lot more out of it if you're tasting the wine, and then you can continue to drink it like Hampton Water. But give it a good taste because this is such a great high quality wine. And Gérard, we would be honored if you would perhaps guide us through tasting this wine and what we're getting from it.
Yeah, of course. I'm very proud to share the first glass of rosé for me because this is 1 o'clock in the morning. That means this is the first glass of the Wednesday. That's good. I can sleep and wake up with a beautiful glass of wine. And first of all, for me, it was important to listen from Jesse and John about their vision about the rosé, and of course. They drink already some of my wines, and they understand very well the south of France. They understood the difference between Languedoc and Provence because we use the same grape varieties, but we have more grapes in the south of France, and we do the blend, with the Grenache because the Grenache remain the most important grape for making great rosé. And then we add some Cinsault, Mourvèdre, and Syrah. And this is really exciting because, the Grenache is a foundation. It's like a temple, you have the foundation. And then with the Syrah, you have the column of the wine, the structure. And the Cinsault keep and develop the freshness, and then the Mourvèdre reinforce the structure, And it's always exciting to make a rosé with for drinking now, but also with a length, because you have the taste of the rosé, but this is also important to have the aftertaste. And when you see the color, the color is light, and you see the color is light and is very interesting because you can smell complexity between the red fruit, and also you have a touch of mint, touch of also of vanilla, because 20% of the wine has been aged in French oak. And what I like the most in this wine is the purity and the verticality also, because you have the taste, you have the artist taste, and the only thing you cannot control when you make a wine, and especially a rosé, is when you salivate at the end of the tasting. Because when you salivate, this is very good because it's refreshing your mouth, and also because you need another glass, which is good for us.
That's well, it's Hampton Water. And I think, I know, Jesse, you had mentioned that too when we were talking with the oak aging. That helps, especially with the rosé, to kind of add just a little bit fuller body to make it a little bit more longevity, right, Gerard?
Yeah, we do rosé like we do a great white. That means that's why this wine, since the beginning, has been rated 90 plus every year, yep. Because it's very distinctive, and it's complex, and you can smell also you can discover the south of France in this glass, because really the difference comes also from the region.
Yes, and I think that's important because a lot of people assume when they see a bottle of rosé and they see south of France, they assume it's from Provence. And this is from the Languedoc-Roussillon, which is on the west side of the Rhone Valley. Similar grapes, but it's a different style. It's kind of a different wine.
Yeah. The Languedoc is the new world of Europe. Mm-hmm. That means this is the largest area in terms of wine production in the world, and we have also a strong history because we produce wine for 24 centuries. And people, they have a great expertise of rosé. Of course, we do also some red and white, but rosé, it's also a great expertise since now 40 years. And my father taught me how to make great rosé when I was a kid.
When you were 10, right?
Yeah.
Right, that's right. Well, the quality and the mastery comes out absolutely in this wine. So Jesse and John, how involved have you been in the production, in making the actual wine? We're going to show some pictures now. Have you been kind of hands-on in the harvest and the blending? What's kind of been your role in this part?
It was a joy to go over and be a part of the harvest. And it was a great science experiment to be a part of the blend. So it's not as if, we'd not done it. We'd been out there in the field witnessing how hard these guys work. For me, it was a great experience.
Yeah, we, like we said earlier, we were very hands-on with the blend, and then we were able to go back that next, I guess we went back in September, and we were able to actually take part in the harvest. And so to be able to not only, now have done the blend, but then to go and be able to taste the grapes and have Gérard walk us through the properties and say, this is where the Grenache is coming from. Notice how the skins taste a certain way and the seeds taste a certain way, and these aren't ready yet, and these are ready. And to be able to get an understanding of, like you said, the kind of art versus the science, it's that double-edged sword that Gérard has to wield so well is to understand just by tasting a grape, this needs more time, this is ready to go, this needs to go here, this needs to go there. So it's been wonderful having Gérard to really help us to get a better understanding from that side of it.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about wine. It is this kind of blend of art and science and just actually a lot of different areas. So this rosé grew very quickly in a fairly crowded category, dry rosé. And dry rosé is very popular. There are a lot of options, and obviously having a fantastic wine is a good start. Plus, every vintage has had 90 plus ratings from at least one wine critic. So how did you, what kind of plan did you have, or what did you do to kind of help grow this brand and the awareness of it?
Yeah, so our original plan when I first came back to my dad after those couple of months back at school, before we'd even met Gérard, was that we wanted to create a real lifestyle brand. We wanted to be more than just a beautiful bottle of rosé, because like you said, the category was so crowded and so many people my age were going into a liquor store, they were going into a wine shop, they were picking up a bottle that they might have heard of before or might have liked, but didn't really know much else about it. So we knew that we really needed something that was going to stand out. And so when we kind of came up with this concept of Hampton Water, the idea was that we wanted to share the beach, the sun, the fun, the family, the food, and that if you bought a bottle of Hampton Water, that it sort of brought you into that lifestyle. And then when we met with Gérard, the South of France lifestyle being very similar, that's, you know, where kind of the idea was born from. You know, but a big thing that we did to really stand out, again, you know, we knew that a lot of people are buying wine based on the label. And so we wanted something that really jumped off the shelf. And so, you know, you see things like the diver, you see things like, you know, our silver line of her, the idea was that she was turning water into wine. You know, she was diving from water into rosé. And so we had a number of different things that really were designed to grab people's attention. And we've continued to work those things and change those different aspects as we've moved forward, going into year 3 now. But at the end of the day, what it really just came down to is getting out and getting people to try it. Because like you said, with back-to-back 90-point ratings now, getting people to try the wine is really the biggest thing. And so a lot of me flying around the country and working with Gérard and his team to get the word out.
Yes, that's probably added to more late nights for you, but that sounds like a lot of fun. So there is, I love this because there is a big element of culture to this wine. In fact, you know, what, you know, kind of brings together that idea of fun, family, conversation, beach, warm weather, and, you know, that both the Hamptons and South of France have. But I also wanted to just mention that you were both awarded, well, all 3 of you were awarded the Wine and Culture Wine Star Award from Wine Enthusiast this January, which is where I got to first meet you. Yay. Yay. So, and I love that you're a lifestyle brand, because we at Wine.com try to be, you know, a lifestyle retailer. So I think that it's important, because wine it's a lifestyle. Okay, so we have received some questions from our guests. One of them did have to do a lot with, you know, the design of the label, which I think you mentioned a little bit, but you also have text on that. If you could kind of, could you dive into that for us, of explaining the label?
Sure. So yeah, like I said, initially, this went through a number of different iterations. And so when, you know, not knowing any better, when me and my college roommate first came up with this concept, we actually wanted to shrink wrap the entire bottle. We wanted the top half to be white. We wanted the bottom half to be clear. And so our whole concept was kind of built around this diving woman. And the idea was that she was, like I said, diving from water into the rosé. And then we went and met with Gérard's team, and we were like, we're going to shrink wrap the bottle, and this is the plan. And they all looked at us and were like,
you know,
no, you're not. So that was a big sort of driver for the initial label design. You know, like I said, was that diving girl. And then obviously having Hampton Water, you know, telling people about this sort of lifestyle, and the intention initially, and still to this day, was that if you pick it up and look closely, like you mentioned, there is a letter that appears on the bottle. And that was something that I wrote. And it's intended to be an invitation for anyone that were to pick it up in a store or were to order it online, and to essentially invite them into this Hampton life. And so it starts, dearest friends, you have great taste. You've just picked up your new favorite bottle of wine. All you need to know is it's French, it tastes best when it's cold, and you better buy an extra bottle, because this stuff goes quick. And so the idea is that anyone that either knows a lot about wine and is familiar with Gérard, or is familiar with the South of France, they'll know that that's where the best rosés are coming from. They'll understand a 90-point rating. They'll search for this wine. If you're like me and you're 25 and you don't know a lot about wine, it's really meant to be, hey, don't worry, you've made a great choice. And that was really our kind of idea when it came to getting the word out, was how do we invite everyone across the spectrum of wine knowledge? Because we didn't want to exclude anyone.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's beautiful, and it does attract even somebody who knows enough about wine. The design of the bottle too. So Gérard, maybe you can just touch briefly again on that, the glass top, and just kind of the sustainability that I know you practice in your vineyard, and even in your packaging here, would be great to kind of touch on here.
Yeah, you know, it's important for us at the winery to take care about all the detail. And of course, wine, as you know, is 1001 detail. And of course, since the beginning, we like to be the first to provide innovation into the market. We were the first to use a glass cork. And I fall in love with this bottle, and I present this bottle to John and Jesse, because when you see the bottom of the bottle looks like a strawberry, you know, and
On the bottom, yeah. If you guys have it at home, take a look on the bottom. It's almost like a strawberry. It's so cool. Okay.
Yeah, you know, and it was fun because when you taste the wine, you can remember some flavor of red fruits, and also I think the you know, the glass closure is very distinctive, and you know, I love since the beginning the label, because as Jesse say, the diver, you know, change the water into rosé. You know, it's very symbolic, you know, and at the end of the day, it's good to change water into rosé. Yeah, this is also the challenge for Hampton Water.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, the next question we had for Jesse and John is, a few Hampton Water fans have asked, do you have plans to expand into white and red wine?
You know, for us, yeah, we get that all the time too. And it's not that we don't want to do that. Gerard obviously makes some fantastic reds and whites. But for us, the rosé category, like my dad said in the very beginning, is something that is expanding every single day. And we've really noticed that even from the time that we started until now, the rosé season has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So our thinking is that we want to continue to expand into the category of rosé. We want to grow the category as much as we can, because in our minds, like you said, there's reds, there's whites, and every single day it's becoming, and now there's rosés. And so our thinking is that if we can help people get more accustomed to this idea of a year-round rosé, you know, then we think we're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, because you talked about that as like, as soon as, you know, Labor Day hits, like, okay, no white, no rosé. We're moving on. Can't wear white, can't drink rosé. So we're going to change that. I think that's important to recognize. It goes with food. It goes in the winter, right?
Certainly. We've found that it goes great during Thanksgiving. We always have it on the table, you know, with the whole family, with turkey and all the wonderful things that come along with the nice Thanksgiving meal. And we bust it back out again, you know, come December and Christmas time and New Year's. You know, for us, rosé season never ends. And we've always been kind of confused when people are like, we don't drink in the winter. Why would you?
And John, have you enjoyed being in business with your son?
I've loved every moment of it. I have to tell you, it's a lot sexier than his coming to me and said he wanted to be in the sock business. So I'm very happy that he's chosen the wine business to ask me to become involved with him. And it's a joy, you know. What's the greatest pleasure than to work with your children and to see them shine like this? It's great.
Yes. Well, mine are too young, and homeschooling is not showing me in a good way. But I'm so glad that is in the future one day. But I think it's wonderful that y'all have this partnership that you're doing together. You've obviously picked a phenomenal winemaker to make great things, and that you're kind of moving forward with this. One last question of, what is your favorite pairing with Hampton Water? Doesn't necessarily have to be a food. It could be the beach. Everybody, all three of you.
Oh, I love chilled seafood with it. To me, that's ideal. You know, some chilled seafood and a cold bottle of Hampton Water.
Perfect. Jesse, Gerard?
You know, myself, you know, I like barbecue, you know, and I like parties. That means I like to start early with a glass of rosé and finish late.
Like at 1 a.m.? 1 a.m.
Yeah. That means it's early for me.
That's beautiful at barbecue. Jesse?
My personal favorite is another glass of Hampton Water.
I like that. I like that. Clearly spoken by a 25-year-old.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think we are going to wrap up unless there's anything y'all want to add.
I would just add, if I could.
Yes, please.
Everybody at home, if you want to keep up with everything we're doing, you can follow us. We are very active on social media. We are constantly posting, showing what we're up to. We've been doing lives. We've been going live 3 times a week. So check us out at Hampton Water on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook. You can keep up with us all the time, see what we're up to.
That is awesome.
You know, Glendolid, I think also it's important to add that for the consumer perspective, you know, for the food and wine pairing, the good thing with the rosé is that we have a very large palette of pairing, because of course you can drink it by itself, with, you know, for happy hours. But it's also good to to pair with seafood, with shellfish, with also some chicken, you know, and you have maybe thousands of pairing which work very well with the rosé. You know, it's much more complicated to make a great food and wine pairing with white and red than rosé, especially with the modern cuisine now. You know, because the balance of the rosé is very good because it's not full body, it's just medium body, which is perfect to pair with a lot of dishes, which is very important because very often people doesn't know how to drink a glass of wine and which food pairings they have to do. I mean, they can drink Hampton Water and rosé with many different dishes, and this one in particular because this wine has a long finish. Which is very important.
And you had also mentioned when you salivate, that acidity that you're getting also key for pairing, right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
So yeah, rosé is a wonderful, diverse, great wine style to pair with a number of things.
Yeah, you know, and
can't go wrong.
And if you have if you have a Sunday dinner or lunch with a family, and if you get a chance to have a lobster, it's perfect.
I would love a chance to have lobster.
Yes.
Sounds wonderful. Okay, well, thank you all so much for taking this time out to tell us your story, to taste the wine with us, to connect with the consumers of your wine who are all big fans of Hampton Water for very good reason. I will certainly keep drinking whatever I have left after we sign off. But yes, and John's got his, I've got mine. Jesse's on his last unopened bottle, so sorry. You know, you can go to wine.com for that.
Do they have that on wine.com? Can you?
Yeah, apparently it's like totally available. Who knew? All right. We appreciate you all being here. Again, thank you, and good night, or good evening, and good morning.
Yeah, thank you. See you soon. Enjoy the wine.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It's both a science and a form of high art. It's made from the combination of grapes, sunlight, rain, soil, and time. It's raised up in the moments that matter. It's wine. And we are Wine.com. We have the largest wine selection in the world, online sommeliers with free advice, and now our powerful new app puts the entire world of wine in your hands. Wine.com. Seriously passionate about wine. Download our free app today.